Hello guys, welcome back. It is Duh, and I'm starting a new series today. I'm going to be doing some course overviews of the courses that I have made over the past few years in this game, particularly the nicer ones that I have made. Uh, so let's go ahead and get straight into it. This is my course Luxury Canyon. I had just made this course probably 20 weeks ago, 30 weeks ago. Uh, it is still one of my favorite courses visually that I have, with all the rock cliffs and just beautiful scenery of this course. I got the sun where it plays beautifully in this course. It's just such a nice looking course. But I'm going to go hole by hole and talk about my ideas for each hole, kind of the stages they went through, anything in particular that's important about any of the holes on the course. Uh, I'm gonna start with just the scenery. The scenery of this course is very simple. When I was setting it up, what I decided to do was put one giant river that flowed right down through the center of the course, all the way down and out. And I wanted cliffs on each side to make kind of like a valley type feel. But I wanted the whole course to be able to fit in the valley very nice and easy, so I think this is a very good middle ground. In terms of exterior decorating, I didn't do a whole bunch. I just added some larger rocks on the cliff, one or two different rock types, and I added a simple little clubhouse area up here and a little driving range and maintenance area. Some things you usually would never see as a golfer, including the little helicopter pad behind number 10. But we're gonna go ahead and go down to hole number one down here. Hole number one, I wanted this course to just play really smooth. I didn't want it to be hard, or at least extremely hard for any players. I wanted this just to be a fun, nice, easy course to play. And I think I did that pretty successfully, as most of the scores are usually fairly low on this course. So hole one here, uh, it's a very short par five. Actually, it says it's 569 from the back tee, but because of the huge drop off from the first tee, it really doesn't play that far. Uh, the two bunkers act as kind of a chokehold on your landing area. The longest drivers might make it down to here, but even still landing the ball, you're going to have to worry about the bunkers for the most part. The hole's super easily reachable in two. As most shots end up right here, it's only about 230 to the green, and this is the simplest green on the entire course, with only being one big slope on this whole left edge that kind of brings everything down, and a smaller one on the right edge. There's really only a small pinnable zone on this hole. I really didn't worry about it on this one just because I wanted a simpler starting hole, just to kind of get people's scores a little low off the bat. Number two comes back straight away and tries to take that score right back from you. This hole had gone through multiple different iterations. If you play this in 2K21, it looks completely different. I do like this iteration a lot better. I still don't think it is perfect, but I think the green offers a lot of interesting opportunity for shots. This is pin location number one, and trying to get a ball really close to this pin takes a perfect shot landed right here, considering this is a longer par three. The bunkers in this hole are okay. I would like to redo this back one again, but I'm not really sure what I would do with it. In terms of the front two, I think they're fine. Also, something that no one's ever going to usually be in is this little catch area all the way back down here. It'd take quite a shot to get back there, but that's something that a lot of players don't really see. Uh, in terms of on-course decorations as well, I was going with pretty simple decoration tactics. I was just using the larger rocks, same ones I was using up on the cliff face, and I was using a lot of thick green grass. I find this green grass is very nice for waste areas, areas that you don't really want the players to be going, as they are extremely difficult to hit out of. If you're trying to hit out of these things, they're about head height. They don't look like that, but they're about head height when you get inside of these things. And it also, when your golf ball travels through the grass here, it acts as limbs from a tree, so it really slows down your shot really hard. And it only does it like half the time, so it's a very dangerous spot to be in any of this stuff. Let me get a drink real quick. All right, coming down to number three. Number three was just meant to be a kind of a nicer fairway looking hole. Nothing really too fancy. I wanted to kind of mess with the invisible sight line where you can't really tell what's going on over there. But of course, in the game, you have your cube view, so you can view up and see everything. In terms of hitting the fairway, very easy. The only thing you really want is you want as much distance as you can get. Some players do like to lay it back, though. There is a smaller, little flatter area right here as well that some players will try to play to, as it gets you a little bit of a more solid distance, right around 160 in instead of about 100, 120, which can be awkward. On to number four. So what I did for these holes right here was I decided to mound up a big hill right here, and I surrounded it in these large rocks, almost in like a ring type fashion. And this gives us two very interesting holes that play right around the edge of this. Both of them are shorter par fours, but I think they both have their own very nice characteristics. This one hasn't really gone through too many changes. The fairway, I did reshape the fairway. There was this little knoll here, but it wasn't really as punishing as I wanted it to be, so I did kind of slope this a lot more down into the bunker and made this hole a little bit more difficult, but overall it's just easy because it's so short. The pin locations are a little hard. If you're not careful, you can very quickly make this into a bogey hole. Uh, Carrying your ball all the way to the top of the slope will carry you all the way off the green as well. You can't just hit it into the slope and be like, all right, the slope's gonna bring me right back to the hole. No, it'll take you off the green. If you're not just barely inching it onto here, it's gonna go up all the way back down, which I think is a very interesting feature. And it's also very, very visually, like you can see it a lot from the fairway. It makes the green just, you can see so much green space. I also, whenever I ported it over, I was able to add in a fence or two around the course. This is one of the couple fences. I reshaped this over here, but no one's really ever going to be over there unless you're playing from up on the tees. On to the fifth hole here. I usually add my little washrooms every 4 or 5 holes, as is on a real golf course usually. So this hole right here is a drivable par 4, but a hard drivable par 4. Even in the new game, the old game it was almost impossible. But your landing area is this little strip right here, and from the tee box, it doesn't really feel like you can get it there. But the big thing about this hole is the rock hitboxes are in such a way, or at least I haven't got a bad bounce yet. But if you do land over to the right over here, it usually kicks you down into this big bunker. But a good straight shot, you don't even have to add loft on it, can make it onto this strip and roll up onto the hole. And depending on your curve in, if you're drawing it in, you can take this kind of more to the left. If you're fading it, you can take this more to the right and get to that pin position over there. I do think this little knoll brings in uh, a lot of difficulty to this green, because if you're not careful, you can get on the other side of this knoll and you can have a 3-putt coming to you very fast. When you're driving this green, if you can't get it up on this knoll or around this knoll, you'll be sitting right here putting up to this, and that is very, very 3-puttable for a drivable par 4. Next hole, a lot of people really, really like this hole. I do like the green on it a lot, but for some reason, there's always just been something that just doesn't feel perfect for me. But at the same time, it is a very nice playing hole. It's a short par 4, big driving area right here, beautiful 3 bunkers lined up in the back, and this green can play very, very difficult sometimes. I myself have hit a lot of shots into this water, short, long right, because these pin positions, they're just brutal. That's all I can really say about them. They're just brutal. In terms of the green, though, I added a bunch of rocks under it to kind of give it a more, not an island green, but kind of like connected to something type feel. I think it works out really nice. This is probably the hardest hole on the course right here. This par 3 up the hill. It's up the hill about 35 feet. And the green here, if I can show you the green is nuts. These are the two pin positions that most people play to, 1 and 4. These two actually aren't that bad because you can use this little back slopes on these to get you back down. But this one, if you're not dead perfect straight on this line, anything to the right is going to get punished. Anything to the left is going to sit down here, or it'll stay up here a lot of the times, and you will have a very difficult shot coming down to this pin. I've been up here way too many times to count, and getting your ball to stop without having it roll off the green can be very, very scary. Uh, I've never birdied this hole. I watched someone play my course today who actually did manage to birdie it, which is pretty insane because this is just a super super hard green right here. And on to number 8. This one went through a little renovation. This one was a little bit too easy for my liking. It's a reachable par 5, very easily reachable. This bunker right here wasn't here. This was connected fairway. I decided to add this bunker in here just to add a little bit more difficulty because it was way too easy just to aim to the fat part and just hit it out here. And this, I mean, while some players can get over it, most players can't. So I do think it's in a good position. I think it plays the course very nice. Uh, for everything else in this hole, there's not really a whole bunch to talk about. I do like the bunker layout here. I think it's very challenging for even layups. Even if you have to lay up, this is your layup zone, and you got this one big bunker to try to play around. The green is fairly easy. As long as you're on the right tier, it's really no problem. There's just two larger tiers. On to hole number 9. Hole number 9, I do like this hole. I'm very surprised that it didn't get broke with the new game. I actually haven't seen anyone drive it over this yet. Everybody's been having to land right here in this little center area to get it down if they even can. A lot of people still end up here at the top. I do like this hole a lot. I don't know, something about having the two bunkers here like this and the two bunkers here almost mimicking these two. It's just a simple, nice looking hole. I moved a little halfway house down to here as well in the renovation, cleared out some trees behind the green to make it a little bit nicer. This hole also is pretty easy. Most of the par 4s on this course are pretty easy and scoreable. Same thing with the par 5s. The only really hard holes are the par 3s overall, honestly. And we'll see that a little bit more on this back 9 as well. Par 4 right here, decent length, right around 460. Most drives are going to land up here on this little plateau and either come down or just kind of stay on top. It's a shorter shot into the green, about 150 to the green. And this is a little 3-tiered green that I've been working on. So it's like, I'm not really sure if it's technically 3 tiers, but I like to consider this kind of 1 tier, but I guess it is technically 4. But got this big zone back here that everything kind of plays down into this little area. Got this big zone here and this big zone here. This is not pinnable up here. None of this zone is. I would have to rework it to make it pinnable, but I haven't put any pins back here, but I was playtesting with pins, and it is kind of fun, but it's just a little bit more difficult than what I'm looking for. On to number 11. This is another one of the par 3s in the course. Very hard to get a birdie on. This one is right around 250 from the back tees, and I added this little front bunker in, and I think it really makes this hole a lot more difficult. Because if you're playing to either one of these front pins, you just have to hit it back past the pin and then make your putts coming back. There's no option otherwise. The two back pins you can land shots next to pretty easy. You just gotta land up here in this front little tier and they'll roll right back to pin location. But I do like how this hole plays. If I were to make this in real life, I would take away this front bunker just because of how long the hole is, but I did want the par 3s to be a little bit more challenging here, so I think it does its part very nicely. And number 12 here, this is actually visually one of my favorite holes in the course. This hole right here has got this beautiful rock cliff going all down the left side over here, and this beautiful little waterfall that comes down into a little drainway that I've made. Feeds it off down into a little bitty pond over here. And I don't know, something about this hole, it just kind of feels almost like a fairway, and it just plays very nicely, looks very nice. First shot is a beautiful shot. Second shot's a very challenging shot coming back up the hill if you're going for it. And even if you're laying up, it can be be a little bit tricky because this is all your landable fairway. This right here will feed you off into the grass and give you a harder second shot into the or third shot into the green. Onto another one of the par threes. This is the massive drop off hole here. Playing from the back tees back here, it's right around 180, but you want to hit about a 140 club into the green. It's about 100 feet of drop. You can't even see the green from the tee boxes. That's how vertical it is. But I do like that having to peek over the edge aspect about this hole. It really adds that extra, oh wow, this is so downhill. And if you don't know your distances, this hole will get you because the severe elevation drop will have you shooting back here into this back part, which is almost impossible sometimes depending on the slope, or landing way up here in the front part, which can be a very hard up and down to these front two pins, which are the two playable pins, I believe, the two, 1 and 2, or 1 and 8. Sorry, 1 and 4. 1 and 4 pins. But this green, I would probably rework the slope here. As you can see, it's not exactly perfectly rounded, but I do think that adds a little nice catch right here. But the biggest thing is just the amount of slope here. I just think it needs to be lessened a little bit. This is also one of the holes where I added... Actually, I think this is the old fence. Yeah, this is one of the old fences in the old game, not the spline fence. On to hole number 14, the basically the signature hole of the course. A lot of people really find this one nice because it comes all the way down here to the ocean, and it's got this beautiful little river that runs down the side of it, and it's a drivable par 4. Most people's drives are going to land up around here on the front of the green. Wind's helping, you're going to land on the green. Even the bigger hitters without wind can reach the green very easy by landing on the front. It's got this really nice little catch right here in the front, so any shot that does end up being perfectly straight at the green is just going to catch this and roll back down. Anybody who's actually carrying enough speed will come up and be stopped by these last two slopes in the back, and it'll hold them around this area somewhere. I'm going to grab another drink of water and then finish this up. Alright, on to hole number 15. This one, honestly, I didn't even notice this little rock poking through the ground. That's kind of funny, but this little hole right here, I like these tee boxes that I got set up, how the rocks kind of caress the front part of the tee boxes. I've started to fall in love with these type of tees in this game. They're just very nice. You can kind of feel like it's almost like a step coming down. Playing out this fairway, this hole just feels like from the tee box that there's just sand on all sides as you're coming down. You do have your landing zones like right here, back here, and up here, but just from the tee box, the rows of bunkers on each side, it's quite a scary little feeling. But since it's a game, you know, we're all just gonna smash it right down the center. Coming up to the green, any shot that does go in the sand is punished again coming up to the green by this big knoll right in front of the green. This also acts as a visual block from the fairway, making it feel like you do have to go up and over something to get to the hole. Most of the time, anyone who does land it short is going to get kicked off either into the bunker or way down, possibly even into the water off of this one. A lot of shots over here will end up in this general zone. But this is one of the harder par 4s in the course. It definitely is still birdieable, as all of them are fairly birdieable. And now we're coming on to another birdieable par 4, number 16. This hole I backed up a tee box. As you can see, there's an extra tee box back here. This is where the original back tees were. With the new game, you could hit your drives all the way down to here, which is okay because these two bunkers come into play, but I wanted to force people to choose one of these sides of the fairway and actually play around these two bunkers out here that I've got. And I do think it makes the hole very nice. It gives you an option to come up here if you want to play it back onto the slopes, or if you just want a nicer, cleaner line, you can come in down on this and just get a nice long area, long landing strip to land into. On to number 17. We've got this little beautiful. I really like this little lake creek waterfall system I got going on. It uses the same decoration blocks I was telling you about before. I just think they go very nice together. Uh, just in any case, really all over the course. Uh, Number 17 here was meant to be the par 5 that you can reach in some circumstances and can't reach in others. Uh, Same thing with number 12 over here. This one was supposed to be like that as well. You can reach, you can't reach, depending on the wind, usually. And also if you really, really pipe a drive. This hole is usually reachable, sadly. I didn't bump back the tees on this hole because I didn't really have much bump back room. But I still do think it plays nice. It allows this fairway bunker now to come into play a lot more in 2K23, catching a lot more shots than it used to be, as most people were stopping back here in 21. Now they're landing and coming all the way up to here. Uh, Overall, this is a very simple par 5, multi-tiered green. Nothing super special going on. Got the 4 bunkers guarding it all the way around. I made sure on this course to use the fairway that runs into the bunkers on most of the holes, because I do think it looks nicer, and it also adds a lot more difficulty, because if you have that little strip of rough here, so many shots are going to get caught in that rough instead of going into the sand, where a missed shot over here should really go. And coming on down to number 18, one of my favorite tee shots in the course just because of the mounded bunkers. Very, very extreme mounding on these bunkers. Very punishing if you can land, or if you do land in them. I do think it adds a interesting tee shot, as you do have to try to work your draw around the corner or just absolutely smash one down into this open area. It does add in a lot of risk though, because a pull is going to go over here and a push is going to go into the water, so it is quite a scary hole. And coming up to the green here, it's kind of a, I don't really know what to call this, but it's almost like 2 separate greens tacked on to each other by a big slope. But I do think it plays very nice. It gives a very nice look from the back of the fairway. It makes it feel like there is almost 2 separate greens playing too. And I also, of course, did the little bunker bleeding into the water trick on this hole, just to add a little bit extra flair to this bunker. And I did also do this little wraparound here, which I've started to really like these wraparound types on holes. I think they're really nice, almost like handles. But overall, this course, it is definitely one of my favorites. I'll probably give it a 9 out of 10 on my own scales. There's definitely some things that could be changed, could be done better, but I'm happy with it in the state it is, and we can't be perfectionists, because if we turn into perfectionists, these courses will never get published. So, but overall, if you guys want to give the course a try, the name is Luxury Canyon, as in the title. And I'm going to keep doing these. I'm going to keep going over the rest of the courses that I've published, and probably start doing some more videos in this type of style. As you've seen, my regular content is teaching people how to do things. There's only so much, so many things that can be taught in this designer. If you guys could also just keep leaving any questions you have about the game, about the designer, and I'll try my best to get back to them, and possibly even make some videos about them if they're bigger topics. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.